Yo, what's up guys? We're back with another Envy video. Now today we're doing the patch 11.6 rundown. So let's get right into it because I don't actually have a lot of time today. So we've got Akali, health is going down from 575 to 500 and then the growth is going up by 10. So about 8 or so levels in, you end up having more health than what the base health was. But it's gonna be a bit weird, and we're gonna have to see where that lands. You no longer get energy back from the assassin mark, and then your Q costs more early into the game. But at rank 5, it's down by 30, and it no longer deals 25% bonus to magic damage to monsters and minions. Twilight Shroud now increases Akali's maximum energy by 80 and still restores 80 energy. So that's a 280 at the top. And then this is getting a buff, the E. Total damage. Okay, so 30 for first. Just doesn't make sense to me. And then it's now being magic on the first dash instead of physical. Pretty big changes. I guess you no longer have to weave in the auto attacks to restore energy in the early game. The damage is still going to be there, but it's going to be a lot harder to clear waves with Akali. So any champion that Akali could previously just all in, it's a lot harder to do now. And we're just going to have to wait and see where that lands in the tier list. Bonus base damage down by 10 at all ranks. That's I mean, you're not going to get as much early aggression, I guess, but it doesn't really change the champion by too much. Hecarim, Q base damage decrease later. The numbers it ends up being down by 20 at max rank. I don't know, like, it's something, but I don't know if this harms the clear by too much, because you're only losing like 5 base damage. One change in the runes and that damage is back. Again, you're gonna be missing some tankiness, but that ends up being whatever. Karthus base Q damage decrease later. And then we look at the numbers. This is going to just slow down the Karthus clear. But he'll still be fine. But it's a little bit weird considering he just gets all in by pretty much everything at the moment. LeBlanc W cost decrease later in terms of mana. I find personally myself this is going to be huge because you don't really itemize around mana. You might get your mythic, which might have mana on it, but the rest of your items don't. So that's going to be a nice help. Cooldown on Lilia up by 20 seconds at all rank. That's pretty big. That's going to really harm the champion, I think. A lot of the play will still be the same, except it just means you can't do it as often, which is what can sometimes shut down a champion. Pike E cooldown now decreases. I think that's pretty big. Right, from 15 seconds to 15 to 14 to 13 to 12 to 11. It ends up being 4 seconds shorter at max rank. And then you still take cooldown into consideration. That's huge. But not a lot of people are playing Pike, especially with the really high skill floor. Renekton bonus health decrease later. He's losing none at level 1 ult, 100 at level 2 ult, and then 200 at level 3 ult. It means he's going to be squishier, right? But I feel most Renektons don't build full tank anyway. They more go a bruiser, I'm going to deal some damage while I'm in there type builds. So he should be fine. Because in the late game team fights, he ends up being useless anyway. So early game it doesn't really hit him. Level 11 he gets hit a little bit. but level 16 is when that's gonna hurt, and it just means he falls off a power trot even, even faster. Silas, Unshackled passive, so that's the passive on the E, which is like the Tiamat old proc. From 80% bonus to 125. That's pretty nice. I'm going to enjoy that. Cooldown is going pretty much max rank. It's down a second, and then obviously 0.75, etc, etc. That's pretty nice. The cost is also down 10 at each rank, but the heal ratio is down 5% in AP. I guess, you have to balance the cooldown and the cost of mana with the AP ratio. But I think this is going to be really helpful. Plus, the bonus attack speed is nice as fuck. Urgot W on hit damage effectiveness decreased from 75% to 50. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Not a lot of people have been playing Urgot a lot, but I guess his changes should be very interesting to pair out, especially with like Renekton and stuff being so viable at the moment. Volibear W healing for monsters no longer halved. The E capped is now flat. E cap damage now flat. Right, so healing from wounded monsters is no longer half, still reduced against minions. That's a buff to jungle Volibear. And then the cap damage, instead of scaling up, it's now capped at 750 at all ranks, which is pretty big. So it should be pretty nice buffs to jungle Volibear. We've got Zinzel. Holy fuck, there's a lot of reading. The heal is down by the looks of this. So he's down by 20 at level 18 in terms of the heal on the passive. The bonus base damage is down earlier, but reaches the same endpoint. Cooldown on W is 2 seconds shorter at max rank. Mana cost is up by 15. Reduced damage was 50%, now it's going down to 50% to 0%, levels 1 through 16. Slash cast time 0.5 to 0.4 seconds based on attack speed to 0.5 with no attack speed buff. Thrust damage now increases by up to 30% based on crit strike chance. The range is longer by 100. It's 1,000 fucking faster in terms of missile speeds. So that's extremely quick. I believe LeBlanc's chain is like 2,000. So that's now challenges enemy champions and monsters and reveals them for 3 seconds. That's pretty nice. So now you can see them. So it's increased to 11,000 on challenged enemies, which means it allows you to chase people faster. AP adjustments. Right, so heal AP ratio is up by 15%. There's now an AP ratio on the W. And then the ult was 100% AD. It's now 100% AD and 110% AP. That's... I don't know if this brings him in. Right, I think people are going to attempt it, which I think he was always good really early into the game, but he just fell off a major cliff where champions like Jarvan were really good into the game, but you could get away with going practically full tank and then still be extremely useful. So this, to me, Zinzel was kind of a poor man's Jarvan. But we'll have to see how the AP adjustments and the AD buffs affect him. Right, so we move on to items. Immortal Shield Bow, lifesteal down by 2%. Immortal Shield Bow no longer grants 50% lifesteal for 8 seconds. Now grants 13 to 35 AD when triggered. And then the shield, it was 250 to 700. It's now 300 to 800. I think the lifesteal being gone, because 15% is massive for 8 seconds. Especially if you're auto-attacking every like 1.5 seconds. That's huge, but the AD buff, right? Because you then get the AD when triggered. So I'm assuming it's for the 8 seconds. A champion like Yone or what other champions build shield bow? I think some of the AD carries who excel in those really gritty team fights where you go really low HP, that might end up being better for them than the lifesteal. Especially because, you get the lifesteal from the runes and stuff as well. So that'll be interesting to see where this pairs off to. Blood the Ruin King, down 2% in lifesteal. The Siphon damage goes up. So it's the same at level 1. But obviously you're not going to have it at level 1. And then it's buffed by 30 damage at 18. Just a little bit more of tank shit, I guess. That makes Viego a little bit stronger going towards later into the game, because that's one of his core items. Steric's Gauge. After dealing damage to or taking damage from an enemy champion, the first stack heals you for 2% for melee, 1.2 for ranged or maximum health, decreasing by 50% per stack afterwards over 6 seconds. And then fix the bug where Bloodlust passive will not heal the user for each champion they were in combat with. That's not... I'm pretty sure this is probably still the same as it was then. It's just an update to the way it's worded. So right, Leandre's. This is probably something I'm very interested in. Leandre is no longer grant 5% magic penetration per second against burning targets. It now grants up to 12% bonus magic damage to champions based on their bonus health. Maximum 1250. Right. I think that's pretty big. Because is that per... So now, for instance, if he's got... Let's say his base health is 1250. And then he's running 3000 health. My damage on my mage is going to deal 12% more bonus magic damage to that champion. Which, you run champions like Cassiopeia who already fucking hurt like a truck into tanks. The same with Malzahar and whatnot. This is just going to obliterate tanks. There's no point playing a tank now. Tanks are... Ooh, I really like this for me. I don't like this for top lane tank players. Because this is huge. Luden's Tempest. Dealing ability damage to an enemy champion now also reduces Echo's cooldown by 0.5 seconds, up to 3 seconds per ability. That's fine. It's a little buff, right? Makes it maybe a little bit more compelling than Everfrost in some certain situations, but it's nothing too major. I think Anguish is the big one. And then we've got Rabadon's Death Caps. Looking to make Rabadon's snug, budget-friendly as a third purchase. Combined cost is down from 3800 to 3600. I think that was needed. I actually still thought it was 3600, considering the fact I don't fucking play champions that utilize Death Cap very often. So I never actually realized I went up to that cost. But yeah, it might make because Vigar's already very good with Everfrost. But I think this is 200 gold is nothing to laugh at. That's pretty big, especially when you're not taking away any AP or any of the passive. It's just 200 gold cheaper. Right, Seekers. You only get half armor, and its maximum is 15 instead of 30. Yeah, that's pretty big. Because a lot of people are just rushing fucking Armguard into like Yone, Talon, and they're practically unkillable because early into the game you can't. It's very hard to penetrate that. But now you only get maximum half the armor and it's still exactly the same fucking cost. It's not like it's half the cost, it's the same cost. And in Verdant, from 0.5 to 0.3, and the maximum you can get is 9, and the ability power goes down by 5, and it's the same cost. I myself personally don't build a lot of these anyway. I might build it fucking very rarely, but I think this is push them out because I don't know if it's worth it anymore. I'd much rather just grab like a Merc Treads or a Ninja Tabby because they're still around the same gold amount. Shirelia's was 90 seconds down to 75. That's not too much, right? So 15 seconds. So I guess, you can now go in a lot more. There's not too much to say about that. Stride Barricade, the health from 300 to 200. Iron Spike Whip. Total Ghost is going down 100. And then the cooldown's going up 5 seconds. Again, not too much. It's down 100 gold, which means it's cheaper. But the cooldown being an extra 5 seconds, I don't know if that matters too much to too many people. Sunfire Aegis, Ability Haste up 5. And then instead of 10% per second up to 60%, it's 12 per second up to 72. I mean, this is going to be nice for a Mumu because it goes back up. So that's pretty good. Void Staff up 5 ability power. Combined cost was 400 up to 600. I think people are still going to buy this. The extra 5 AP. I don't know if you rush it second anymore on some mages. It will all depend on the enemy team comp, whether or not you do need that early into the game. But I think people are still going to build it. Gromp, the heal is up by 30 at level 1. But by the time you get to Gromp, you're probably level 2 at least. So I really wish that they would show the level of it. But level 1 Gromp. Actually, wait, no, the heal should be your level. But these are the different levels of the... Yeah. Right. So this is pretty good. The heal's up by 30, which allows... Because single target junglers love Gromp. Because obviously he's only getting hit by one thing. And then the XP... The XP goes up by 10. Pretty much at all fucking levels. A little bit more than 10 going into the later ones. This is pretty big. Some more power into the Gromp. Because I believe in the last patch they took down some of the power in the Raptors. It was either Raptors or Wolves. But one of those two got hit with some nerfs in XP rate. So this is nice. Base heal up by 20. That's pretty good for junglers who do need the smite to sustain. Now teleport. Teleport now removes home start. I'm pretty sure that's the one when you die. And respawn home guard. Right. Burst move speed is now like 50% standard. And then cooldown is 420 and then 210 at 18. Whereas it was 240 at 18. That's fine. I see no issue on this, right? It means you aren't going to get hit with the random fucking, oh, I just killed my lane opponent, he's TPing back and he's going to run me down. Which I think allows you to play up, take the extra wave and then back away as he comes back. So that doesn't really change too much to me. Heal ratio from 30% AP to 20% AP. This is basically a Kassadin hit. Not a lot of other AP scaling champions except maybe Corki. Normally go Fleet because Azir normally goes like Comet and any other champion normally goes a different kind of keystone. Ravenous Hunter no longer has a base of 1% Omnivamp, which I think is fine. And then from 1.7 down to 1.5%. So it's not too much of a hit considering it's not really too big to me. Ravenous Hunter's fine. And then in-game shop item updates. Components of items with deep build trees will no longer overlap. Moonquiller's children can now breathe easy. Pinging the Omnivamp stat will now show the correct values instead of the incorrect ones. That's probably how it should have started, right? When the shop is open, you can quickly select items in your inventory by pressing the number keys. Unleash your inner speed shopper. More bug fixes and performance improvements. We've got some Clash, which we're not really going to go into. DX11. That's whatever. ARAM balance changes. We don't really touch ARAMs because we don't care. These are also fine. I'll give you a second to read these if this is what you want. And then upcoming skins and chromas: Battle Academia Garen and Wukong, Battle Academia Caitlyn, Battle Academia Yone. We pog for this one. Leona, and then Leona Prestige. And then obviously some of the chromas. Pretty not bad patch, to be honest. I myself am intrigued by the Zinzel changes and the Akali ones, plus Volibear, to be honest, because that might make its own appearance. But that's been Envy, and you've been watching my channel. Peace.